Soft-spoken gentleman.
I really am soft-spoken most of the time, so I want to make sure that everybody can hear me all right.
And you pull your punches too, don't forget about that.
Right. Probably shouldn't do that. Yeah. My phone was beeping at me to let me know we're live. So, today is Super Bowl Sunday. So we're going to talk about football today. Well, we're going to talk about being a Christian, but we're going to use the analogy of football.
Hang in there, Richard.
Pay attention, Richard. You may learn something. So tonight, the Super Bowl is going to be in Minnesota. There's the Viking Stadium. It's kind of a long view, but that's the Viking Stadium. It's kind of a cool stadium. So that's what it looks like inside. And I have the statistics, because I try to have statistics for you guys every year. The highest price ticket, and that's up this morning, I meant to change it to this morning, $175,790. But the lowest price ticket is lower than last year. The highest price ticket last year was just under $50,000. The lowest price ticket last year was $7,500. The lowest price ticket this year that has been sold is $3,626. Still more than I'm willing to go and sit in the stadium when you can see it from your house. Right. The average price of a commercial is $6.2 million this year. It was $4.9 million last year. And apparently we're eating less wings because it was 2.2 last year, and this year it's 1.35 billion wings that are estimated to be consumed today.
Well, with the increase of the tickets, they
got a decrease on the. I got you. Yeah. The wing sales are going to go down because of the ticket sales. I got you. This is my only problem with any of the commercials. This is going to be the only political statement here. Is they rejected the veterans commercial of Please Stand. And said that this was no place to make a political stand. So yeah, the league that has said it's okay for their players to take a knee to do a political stand is telling the veterans it's no place to put something political. That's my only issue. Take it for what it is. Philippians 3:14 says, I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize for which God, through Jesus Christ, is calling us. Now, our greatest prize is not a Super Bowl ring. But for these two teams, that's what they're fighting for. That's what they've trained for all year and pushed for all year. And maybe for one of the teams, paid off referees for part of the year to get there. I'm not saying which team it was. Everybody's got a weird cough right now. That's weird. So like I said earlier, this week we're going to talk about football as a metaphor for Christianity. Just like Paul said that when we are in Rome, we should adopt our message to the Romans. That doesn't mean the message changes, it just means that we use the things that are relevant to the culture around us to show people the truth. It's kind of like when you're in sales, you adapt to the person you're selling to make this more relevant to them. Because I got to tell you, if I'm selling a car to a woman, honestly, I'm going to show her more of the places where she can hide stuff or, put all of her stuff around the car. Versus a man, I'm going to show him the cup holders and all the technology that the car has or the horsepower of the car. Most of the time. Some women want to know the horsepower and that. So you can't just say it's this or that. But those are things that I used to adapt to. If somebody said, well, this car is for our kid, we just want to make sure they got something safe and reliable, well, then I'm going to teach them about every safety thing this car has, because that's what's important to them. You got to know who you're talking to. This guy is dedicated.
Wow.
Yeah, he already got a tattoo saying Super Bowl champions, not just this year, but for the next 2 years. Yeah. I mean, I like making predictions and all. But not permanently on my body. The only permanent prediction on my body is that I'm probably going to be fat tomorrow, too. So first century fishing isn't relative anymore like it was when Jesus preached. He could talk about fishing and tell them, analogies towards fishing, where now, I mean, yeah, there are people that fish, but, I mean, more and more, I think that there's probably only a couple of us in here that could feed themselves if the supermarket went out of business.
Would you please raise your hand if you're one of those people so I can follow you?
When we live in a world where you hear people talk about the fact that it's terrible for you to slaughter an animal to eat, but yet they go to Walmart and buy packaged meat, and it comes from somewhere.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Anyway, but today most people, unlike Richard, understand football. So that's the metaphor I'm using. There are lots of ways that football is relative to Christianity. Lots of ways. Okay? Like being a part of a football team with a common goal is like being one of Christ's followers. Because all of us here have a common goal, right? Yeah, we want to tell everybody about Jesus. And at that end game, when we're all called up to heaven, we want to take as many people with us as we can. That's my end game. And how playing your unique position on the football team is similar to serving the unique mission that God has gifted you for. Or how the special equipment you need, the helmet, shoulder pads, cleats, are kind of like the armor of God. Also, how being dedicated and giving your all to win a championship ring is like having your life sold out to God and receiving the crown of glory. Yeah. Unless you try to cheat and pay off refs to get there, and you're not going to get a crown of glory for that. Paul told the people of the church of Philippi that he was living his life in pursuit of a prize that Christ had called him to. Paul wanted to be a champion for Christ. Today, we are going to talk about what it takes to be that champion. To reach the end of our life and to see Jesus himself in the end zone, throwing up his hands. That's what they do when you make a touchdown, Richard. Put your hands like this. That way everybody in the crowd knows it's official. That's what I want to see when I get to heaven. Somebody will be standing there going, you made it. So God has declared open tryouts. All you have to do is show up and say you want to be part of the team. How come some of us, or most of us, don't seem to measure up or even try out sometimes? It's open tryouts. Anybody can play. You just have to have the drive and want to. If we accept the invitation, we are Christians. But we aren't one of the champions on the team unless we try for it. We might settle for sitting on the bleachers and watching the team from a distance, cheering them on and wishing that we had what it takes to play on the field. Now, don't get me wrong. I can tell you that there are going to be guys sitting on the bench tonight, and they're still making a lot of money. And they'll still get a Super Bowl ring if they're on the winning team. But they in their hearts know that they didn't get to fight for it. That they didn't get to play for the glory. And that they didn't get to push and make sure that they got there. I'm saying don't just make it to heaven. Don't just sit back and go, you know what, I'm safe. I know I'm going to get there. And that's all that matters. Keep your eye on the prize, run the race, and win this game. You've got to push and be a champion. Because if you're not taking other people with you, then what are you doing it for? Why are you even here if you're not trying to be a champion and bring others in? That's what we're supposed to be here for. What does it take to be a champion? It takes a life, living a life that, yeah. I'm going to do that. It takes living our lives so that we're living for that moment. We talked about in Esther that she decided, well, her uncle told her, you were born for a moment like this. You were created just for this moment. And there are moments in your life that God's saying, this is your moment. Go get it. I want you to talk to this person right over here. This is one of those moments. And when you play on that moment, and you go and you talk to the person, you say exactly what God has on your heart to say to them, clicks. When you walk away, you know you won that. You know that God gave you the victory there. Now here's the thing. A lot of times, God's already softened their heart. God's already put the seed there. He just needed you to go over there and throw the switch. And get them ignited where they're on fire too. Because if you're a champion and you're pushing for it and you're taking other people with you, guess what's going to happen to all those other people that you talk to, and then you get them ignited to where they're on fire for God too. It's going to spread like wildfire. Wildfire. Ask people in California, they know about wildfire. Now, Jim, these are not deflated footballs. We're just not put together yet. I wasn't making any references there.
Tom Brady's special set.
These just aren't put together yet. They don't have laces in them. There wasn't any comment to be made there. It's just, they're not done. Nothing about deflated footballs. 1 Corinthians 9:25 says, all athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away. But we do it for an eternal prize. We're not pushing in our game and trying to excel at this so that we can get a one-time win. We're not looking for a participation ribbon or a trophy to set on our shelf. We're looking for that eternal prize, aren't we? Timothy 2:20-21 says, in a wealthy home, some utensils are made of gold and silver, and some are made of wood and clay. The expensive utensils are used for special occasions, and the cheap ones are made for everyday use. If you keep yourself pure, you will be a special utensil for honorable use. Your life will be clean and you will be ready for the Master to use you for every good work. We've talked a couple times about being that tool that God wants us to be. About being that special utensil or that special tool that He says, you're the one I want for this job. When I was younger, there was and I don't remember what was special about it, but there was a spoon that had a green handle on it. I loved that spoon. I used it all the time. And I mean, I would be upset if somebody else used my spoon. Huh? I'm pretty sure my sister did, just to mess with me.
She did.
Yeah. And then one day it just came up missing.
That wasn't me.
And so I'm not sure what happened. Maybe Mom just got tired of us fighting about it.
Yeah.
I can see that. But I'm still that way, to where there are certain utensils I like to use, and certain ones I don't like to use. Like spoons, I like ones with rounded edges on the spoons, because if they're hard edges on the spoons, I don't like that. I don't know why. No, I'm talking about the round end. Yeah. Like I said, there's no sense to be made of it. It's just that's what I like. But God has utensils that He likes. I don't want to be the utensil that He looks at and goes, nah, and throws it back in the drawer.
Or worse, back in the sink.
Yeah. Or He looks at it and goes, this one's still dirty. I don't want to be that utensil. Yeah, dirty utensils in my house, Mom will make you wash them all again.
Yeah.
That's the way it happened when I was growing up. Oh. You thought I was talking about you. No, I was talking about my mother. So, Vince Lombardi. If nobody knows who Vince Lombardi is, Vince Lombardi was the coach of the Packers years ago. Great coach. But the trophy that they give out to the winners of the Super Bowl every year is the Lombardi Trophy. But Vince Lombardi, very smart man, very good coach. He said winning is not a sometimes thing, it's an all-the-time thing. You don't win once in a while. You don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. If you do things right each time, you win. You know, lots of times, and I know I go back to sales because it's what I know, but in sales there's a process that you go through. And if you do the same process every single time, you get the sale every single time. Or more than not, you get the sale. Because there's still times it's going to deviate a little bit. But you still need to start the process the same every single time. Because if you work math problems the same way every time and you get the right answers all the time, you should continue working math problems that way, right? I'm not going to change and go, you know what, I'm going to work this math problem backwards. Because maybe that's the right way to do it now. I'll just skip to the end. But that's what we try to do sometimes. It's like walking up to somebody on the street and going, Richard, are you ready to say that prayer with me now? Yeah, because he doesn't know what prayer I'm talking about. You have to walk up to somebody and start talking to them. Get to know them. Tell them about Jesus. Tell them how great He's been in your life. You know, my dad was talking about that he tells people he's fantastic. So that people ask him why. I like that. How are you doing? I'm fantastic. I'm great. I'm wonderful. However you want to say it, where they're going, really? How come? I had a lady at Walmart one time that was a cashier, and she said, how are you doing this evening? I said, I'm just fantastic. And she goes, you know, that's so refreshing. She said, you see people come through and all they do is complain. They complain about how sore they are, how their leg hurts, or how their arm hurts, how their back hurts. She said, but you know, you look to be in good health and you got a smile on your face. And I said, well, I do have a smile on my face because I'm blessed. And she said, but you're not hurting, are you? And I said, well, honestly, ma'am, I've had 5 knee surgeries, 2 hip surgeries. I've got 2 compressed discs in my back. I've got a separated shoulder. But by the grace of God, I have a smile on my face and I'm walking around. And she goes, well, that's awesome. I said, it is awesome. Because God keeps me walking every single day. Where doctors and people, specialists have told me, well, you're probably going to be in a wheelchair or at least on a cane for the rest of your life. God said, nah, we're going to keep this guy walking a while. I just threw this in because I thought it was funny. This is off of Twitter. They took a poll on Twitter to see who people are rooting for. So you've got people out here rooting for the Patriots, and for some reason, North Dakota. And the rest of the country, even Alaska and Hawaii, are rooting for the Eagles. Yeah. Even Delaware and D.C. are rooting for the Eagles. I'm just not sure about North Dakota.
It's cold up there.
Yeah, oh, that's probably what it is. They're just, their house was full of snow. They didn't know. They didn't know.
I'm thinking the population of North Dakota is only like 600 something thousand.
Yeah.
So maybe the numbers just don't match up.
Oh, that might be,
There's probably like 12 people that got quick.
So I thought it was cool that they made a glass Viking ship for outside the stadium for the Vikings.
Cool.
So I thought I'd share that picture. Timothy 2:3 says, endure suffering along with me as a good soldier of Christ. Are there going to be hard times? Are there going to be times that the enemy comes against you and you get sacked over and over again? That means they get through the line and they knock the quarterback down. And so you don't get positive yardage that way. You get knocked back on yardage. There's times it happens. The enemy gets through the line and knocks you down. And what do? You get back in the playbook and you read. And you go, okay, God, what's the next play? Because I need something to come against this enemy. He keeps knocking me down. And I know that this playbook's the only way I'm getting through it is by looking at it and listening to you, God. Matthew 25, 1 through 13 says, Jesus said, this is a condensed version. I just wrote out what it is instead of reading to you 13 verses. Jesus tells the parable of a young woman, or young women, who are told to be ready for a wedding party. And the bridegroom would come for them sometime that night. 5 wisely prepared for themselves and brought enough oil to make sure their lamp would not burn, or would burn all night. And the other 5 did not. When the voices called that the bridegroom was coming, the 5 silly girls' lamps had burned out, so they ran out to buy more. But by the time they returned, the bridegroom had already come, and the doors of the party were closed. What's that parable mean? Do you think that either team is going to wait until right before the game to practice? No. They've been practicing for the last 2 weeks, watching games that the other team played all year long, watching every play they run over and over again, trying to memorize how they do this and how they do that, and then going out on the field and running those plays against. So then they're sitting there watching what their defense does. They're going to run their offensive plays to try to beat any of those plays they watched. And they're going to watch them and play them and play them. For the last 2 weeks, these guys, 2-3 weeks, these guys have been practicing and practicing and practicing, making sure that they're at the top of their game. We can't wait until the last minute to make sure we've got enough will to make it. We have to be prepared. How do you get prepared? You have to read the Bible. You have to pray. You have to make sure that you're sharp all the time. Because I got to tell you, when somebody comes up to you and says, well, this is how I feel about what you're telling me, do you have any proof to prove me otherwise? That's not the time to go, well, let me get my Bible and look that up. Because you basically lost that. Because you weren't ready. God tells us to be ready. In season and out of season. We don't know when it's coming. For those of you that don't know, in football there's a thing called a blitz. What that means is that they're going to take 4 players, usually, from the defense, and they're going to run them as fast as they can from the back all the way through the line. So the linemen are going to come up and try to spread out the linemen on the offense, and these other guys are going to try to run in as fast as they can and sack the quarterback. You don't know when that's coming. It's not like chess, where you go, check, you're in checkmate. I'm going to take your king next play. They don't stand there on the field going, we're going to blitz. We're getting ready to blitz. They don't tell them that. You don't know when the attack of the enemy's coming. It's not like you get a message on your phone or whatever of going, hey, Satan's going to make you doubt yourself tomorrow. No, you don't know when that's coming. He's going to make you feel like a failure. We know he's going to. We know he's going to try to lie to you and tell you all kinds of things. But that's when you have to be able to go, you know what? I know who I am. And I know what God's done for me. And I know what power I have through Christ to come against you. Jesus said that he has a mission for you. And he's coming for you. Are you prepared for that? Are you ready for him? What are you doing right now to make sure that you're ready when he comes? I know I've said it before, and I'll say it over and over again. The most prepared man in all of sports for any time that I've ever seen is Peyton Manning. Good job. Peyton Manning. From the time the game was over until the next game, he had it in his head what he needed to do. Other players would talk about, they'd win the game, they wanted to celebrate, they'd be, jumping around on the bus or whatever. Not Peyton. He'd be sitting in his seat, watching the game on his iPad or whatever, because he wanted to see where he messed up. He wanted to see any plays that he could have made better. I talked to a guy a couple weeks ago. He was a Patriots fan, and I didn't hold that against him. But he said, well, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback that's ever played. I said, Tom Brady's an average quarterback. He said, well, he's got, so-and-so amount of rings. He got 4 rings, 5 rings. I said, I don't care how many rings he has on his hand. I said, and I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback, because he is. But honestly, he's no better than Tim Tebow or half the quarterbacks in the league. I said, what holds Tom Brady apart is his team. I said, the Patriots are a machine. Because when Tom Brady was out for suspension, the team played exactly the same way. Everything went exactly the way it would have if he was playing. You had no idea that Brady wasn't standing behind that line because the pass plays were the same, the running routes were the same, everything went on exactly the same. Because they have it set up to where they don't care who plays what position. If this player gets hurt, they move him out and move another player into that position, and it keeps going the same exact way. They are set up to do exactly what they're supposed to do all the time. And that will make a good quarterback look great every time. And I think I've told you this before. This thing I was watching on, I don't remember what sports channel it was, but they talked about that Peyton Manning had between 1 and 3 seconds to release the ball from the time of snap. I mean, that's a 1 Mississippi and you've got somebody in your face. But he had the time to, in that 1 or 2 Mississippis to look around, find his receiver, and he broke record after record after record with having less than 3 seconds. They said that Tom Brady has between 6 to 9 seconds behind the line before he gets sacked. That's a whole lot of difference. Think about, and here's my whole thing that goes through my head is, think about if Peyton Manning would have had 6 to 9 seconds to stand there and watch. Talk about laser precision. No matter what the outcome of the game is tonight, the outcome of how you guys play is what's important to me and is what's important to God. That's Vince Lombardi. Well, actually, that's a drawing of him. That's not an actual picture. There's only one way to succeed at anything, and that is to give it everything. I do, and I demand my players do also. You have to give everything all the time. You can't show up on the field and go, oh, I just don't want to play today. I think I'll just, partially play. When you have an offensive line that doesn't play to their full extent, you have a quarterback that gets sacked over and over again. Ask Andrew Luck, he'll tell you. Sacked over and over again. Because the offensive line can't stop him. You have to have a line that's ready to protect you. What is your offensive line? What is it you have there to protect you? You have your relationship with Christ, right? You have your knowledge in the Word. You have the blood of Jesus that's poured over you that's there to keep that off of you. But if you let that stuff lax off and you're not studying, you're not praying, it makes that line to where it's not quite as built up, doesn't it? And you leave yourself open for attacks. Don't get attacked. Don't let the enemy through just to knock you down. And in 1976, Indiana University won the NCAA national title. When interviewed about their success, Coach Bobby Knight said, "The will to succeed is important, but more important is the will to prepare." You can want to win all you want, but the preparation, that's what's important. All 10 of the girls wanted to see the bridegroom. All 10 of them wanted to see him. They were all excited. But only 5 were prepared. There is no easy way to prepare. It's hard work. It can't be done in the last minute. You know that commercial where the guy gets down on the floor and does one push-up? Yeah, I wish that's how it works. I do, because I do one push-up a day. And one sit-up a day if that's what it took to be in shape. But it doesn't. It takes hard work. Let's face it. If it didn't take any dedication, didn't take any work, we'd all be in good shape. But it's way easier to eat cake. Or hot wings, whichever. Or ice cream, yeah. We have to want to prepare and push our way through. Because the enemy's going to throw up all kinds of obstacles. You really don't have time to read your Bible today. Look at this obstacle, and this obstacle, and this obstacle, and this obstacle. And I can make it where you have to do this, and do that, and do this. Oh, and did I mention that you're going to have more pressure to have to go to the bathroom today than you do any other day of the week just because you're trying to pick up your Bible and prepare? Yeah? He throws all that against you. Why? Because he doesn't want you to prepare. He doesn't want you to get ahead. He doesn't want you to be ready for what's coming against you. He wants to make it to where you're going, all right, I am more tired than I normally am, so maybe I should just sleep instead of getting up and doing what I'm supposed to do. Or maybe I should just go to bed early instead of, reading my devotionals before I go to bed. Because he doesn't want you to be prepared. You have to live the life that it takes to be prepared when the call comes. Like I just said, it's easier to be a casual Christian than a committed Christian. It's easier to eat cake than to work out. It's easier to give up than to go all the way for God. Hardships will come, and it's the hardships that separates champions from the rest. And here's the thing. Even the champions get knocked down. Even the champions take hardships. But it's how you react to it is what changes things. If you knew absolutely that God himself was going to speak to you 1 week from today and ask you to do something huge for him, what would you do this week in preparation? If you knew that 1 week from today, God is going to say, I have this for you to do. You got this much time to get it done. What would you do all this week to prepare for that time? I'm not looking for an answer. I just want you to think about it. Because that's what you need to be doing on a regular basis. Because you never know when that call is going to come. I don't know if it's Bible reading, if it's prayer, if you get rid of the things that are around your life that you're carrying around that you shouldn't be, relationships, or bringing back relationships that should have been there the whole time. Hebrews 12:1 says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up, and let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. We have to push through. Because if we don't have endurance, we're just going to want to sit down. I got to tell you, I know right now I don't have the endurance to run a marathon. I don't even have the endurance to run a 3K. I might be able to run to the back of the church. I could probably do that without sitting down halfway. But on a 3K, I'm going to make it about a half mile, and I'm going to go, you know what, I'm done. I just need to sit here for a while. We need to build up our endurance. But the thing is, people that run marathons, they don't just wake up and run a marathon. They practice, and they practice, and they practice, and they get to where they can run just a little bit further, and get to where they can run just a little bit further, and get to where they can run just a little bit further, so that they have the endurance to do it. One thing that we learned with Grace when she was running cross country, if we practice 5 miles, when she runs 3 miles, it's easy. But if you prepare for more, it's easy when the other comes. So get the endurance for all that you need, and then you're okay. I'm thinking for next year to prepare Grace, we're going to start running 5 miles every day. Well, she is. I'm going to get a 4-wheeler. That way I can make sure she's keeping a good pace. Champions are the ones who have a single-minded passion for the goal. The ones who have disciplined themselves for this one thing to win the prize. Passion is what separates champions from the chumps. Are you passionate enough to pay the price? And pay it without arguing, complaining, or looking back? Do you want to be a champion for Christ, or a chump that sits on the sidelines? This was one of my dad's favorite verses. He used to say it to us a lot. Do everything without complaining and arguing, so that no one can criticize you. Live clean, innocent lives as children of God, shining like bright lights in a world full of crooked and perverse people. 14 was really Dad's favorite to tell us. Do everything without arguing and complaining. Not that Angie and I complained or argued. I mean, we were good kids. We never argued about it. Well, I probably should.
The spoon.
I probably, yeah, maybe just the spoon, yeah. We're both going to need to repay here in a little bit.
No problem.
I was watching the clock up there. It says it's almost 12. Hold firmly to the word of life. Then, on the day of Christ's return, I will be proud that I did not run the race in vain, and that my work was not useless. But I will rejoice even if I lose my life, pouring it out like a liquid offering before God. Just like your faithful service is an offering to God, and I want all of you to share that joy. I'm going to skip through some of the things. First forward pass was thrown in 1906. If you're going to be a champion, you need to learn to overcome hardships. But Vince Lombardi says, once you learn to quit, it becomes a habit. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't let things slough you off or put you off of doing what God wants you to do. Spiritual first downs. First down is once you get past 10 yards, you get another set of downs. 1 Corinthians 9:24 says, don't you realize that in a race everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize, so run to win. There's no point in running if you're not trying to get to the prize, right? I can tell you this. If you say to my kids, hey, let's have a contest and see who can pick up the most sticks. If they're not getting anything for it, they're not picking up any sticks. They're just not. And I even tried to tell them that whoever gets the most sticks gets the least amount of whippings. They still don't see that as a prize. Yeah. Galatians 5:7 says, you are running the race so well, who has held you back from following the truth? Who's the one that normally holds us back from following what we're supposed to do? Yeah. It's you. You're the one that holds you back usually. So what kind of life are you living? Are you a casual runner, or are you trying to get better every day? Don't live your life as a spiritual life as a jogger. Run it like it's a marathon. Don't think, well, I'm just out here because. Because just being there because doesn't win the race. It doesn't get you the prize that you need to be in. The things that I want you to ask yourself is, am I closer to my spiritual goals now than I was a year ago? Have you gotten on an escalator and gone the wrong way? Because that's how you know that you're just going through the motions. A couple of years ago on Grace's birthday, we went to Circle Center Mall with her and some of her friends. And if you've never ever taken like eight teenage girls to the mall, don't. Don't, but if you do, I do recommend telling them that you'll give $5 to whoever can get up the escalator backwards first. Was it $1? Yeah, you had to go up the downstairs, yeah. 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 Because that's fun.
You do that hurt maybe a little bit more out.
They were not. They were not. I did it on, I don't know how many sets of escalators. They all ran up backwards. But yeah, they still were full of energy. In football, the goal of the team is to gain yardage to run over the enemy. Don't let the enemy take away your yardage. Don't let them drive you back, but keep pressing in. Keep pushing towards the goal. Paul told the Galatians that they had been doing well, but something had stopped them on the field. What was stopping them from getting the yardage? What was stopping them from getting where they needed to be? Like I said, it's ourselves. We get in our own way. The Word of God gives us the power to knock down the enemy and to run them over. Wow, I really prepared a lot for this. Don't run the race with low expectations. Stand up for Jesus. Dig deep and pay the price it takes to make you the champion that you were born to be this day. Don't accept anything less than what God needs you to be. Don't stay in the pack with the race. Run to win. Romans 8:37 says, "No, despite all these things, overwhelming victory is ours through Christ who loved us." And again, this has nothing to do with the symbols that's on there. Look, I've given you the authority over the power of the enemy. You can walk among snakes and scorpions and crush them, and nothing will injure you. It's just coincidence that the Eagles are on the ones for overwhelming victory and the Patriots are there with snakes and scorpions. Get up every morning and set before you the goal of being wholeheartedly the person God made you to be. Let go of anything else that may be standing upon your dreams or standing in the way of what God wants you to be. Amen? Please stand with me. Lord God, I thank you for your people. I thank you, Lord God, for this time to be in your place, Lord God. That we could be here to worship and we could be here to learn, Lord God. I thank you for this day. I thank you for making us champions, Lord. And I thank you, Lord God, that you are pushing and that we have the opportunity that we can push and become exactly what you want us to be, Lord God. In your name I pray. Amen. It's almost 12. Huh?